You know what makes Kenshi even better? Mods. There's thousands of awesome mods made for Kenshi, and today I prepared 20 of them that you should totally use in 2024. From new enemies, new weapons, and new equipment, to factions, new animations, and complete overhauls, I got you covered on all fronts, and if you stick with me till the end, I even got a couple of spicy bonus ones ready for you. But now, let's begin with Iron Will faction. If you ever wanted to look like a mashup between a medieval crusader and a post-apocalyptic warrior, then you'll fit right in. The mod adds a new special faction you can join or fight, a new cool looking town, and some really badass armor, weapons, and prosthetics. You can join them via a new start or venture out into the world to find their settlement yourself and complete quests for them, and with a promise of more things to come, Iron Will is certainly a faction you should keep an eye on. Alas, when it comes to eyes, the creatures added by Driftmetal Remnants have but a few, but what they lack in eyes they substitute for the power of the Rule of Cool. The mod adds a couple of new skeleton subraces, some very apocalypse appropriate weapons, armor, and backpacks, and the coolest of them all, new robotic pads that fit so very well into Kenshi. And they don't just fit in with their looks, the remnants are nicely integrated with the lore of the world of Kenshi as well, where they satisfy the niche of greedy corpos drilling for offshore oil. But if you ever want to go offshore yourself, you'll need a proper map for guidance. Island's Inkarnate Map comes with 3 versions, 1 spoiler free and 2 a bit more intricate for those who have explored Kenshi before. It adds geographical features to the map and in general makes it absolutely stunning and beautiful, and most importantly makes it easy to read and just a joy to look at. It's truly a thing of beauty and I very much recommend it. And now what I don't recommend is to spend in-game weeks running around a city carrying a dead bandit and a full inventory of iron stacks to level up your strength. Training strength is probably one of the most boring and tedious skill ups in vanilla Kenshi. There are a bunch of mods that try to rectify that, some make you overpowered instantly, others add training equipment, but Strength Gain Reimagined ties it up with combat, and let's be real, combat is the most fun and exciting thing in Kenshi. You'll be rewarded for using a heavier weapon in fights instead of it hindering your skills, and it will give you another reason to go out there into the world and beat shit up. Now, how about some new races to beat up? There's a lot out there, from Skellies to Scalies and even more Skellies and Scalies, but the one I always return to is the good old Goatman. Humans with goat heads, trust me, they fit perfectly into Kenshi like American citizens fit onto their mobility scooters. They're good martial artists, alas, hats elude them, but since they use human skeleton for the rest of their body, any armor actually looks good on them, unlike on most other modern races, and let's be real, looking good is the most important thing in any RPG. And any good RPG needs nasty yet very rememberable enemies, and Kenshi certainly has that with big things. It also needs a nasty bog infested by flesh-eating parasites, and Kenshi has that with a swamp. And what do you get if you combine beakers and swamp? You get swamp things, or beak turtles, or whatever you want to call them. They add extra danger to the already dangerous swamp, and transform shark and other swamp villages into an even bigger chaotic mess than usual. And I for one embrace our new swampy chaotic overlords. But if you want your swampy chaotic overlords to be made out of metal, look no further than Thrashers. These crazy mother truckers have harpoon turrets for head, and they'll turn your head into a meatball in about a second if you don't run away. They roam the swamps, they roam the deadlands and the ashlands, and if one spots you, you better sprint away very fast or towards it even faster, because their only weakness is melee combat. But if you give them a chance to peg you, they will. And there's another monster in the deadlands that you should certainly run away, not because it will peg you, but because it will just stomp you into the dirt without even noticing it stomped you into the dirt. There are 3 ancient Mech Leviathans that are absolutely insane, and hunting them is a prestige reserved only for those strong enough to go head to head with Kenshi's strongest bosses, like your Tin Fists or your Catlons, and even then, there's a good chance not all of you will survive. If you manage to actually defeat one, you'll be rewarded by some sweet loot, but let's be real, the real reward was the Dark Souls joy of defeating one of these ultimate bosses. Alright, enough murder and mayhem, let's chill for a bit and build a nice home. Base building can be very satisfying in Kenshi. Alas, homes usually don't get that feeling of being lived in. They look more of a jumble of crafting benches and storage stuff, so adding some clutter will spice up your base in an aesthetically pleasing way and make it look like your people actually live there. Or you can make it into a one-to-one replica of Asmongold's bedroom. I recommend using the Shift plus F12 menu here to position the pieces exactly where you want them, otherwise you might end up with a lot of floating junk. Now, to reduce the junk and the clutter of your base, I recommend racking researchers. This mod works amazingly well if you decide to set up shop inside of a city and realize that the research benches can easily take up a whole house floor. Why are they so big? Who the fuck knows? But if you rank them up, they'll stay roughly the size of the level 1 bench, which can now be upgraded over and over. They do do require more electricity to run, but that's a worthy sacrifice for how neat they look. And I believe it was Gandhi who said everything looks neat if you're high enough, and that's where Narcotics Expansion hits the brief. It adds a variety of new power puff powders you can peddle across the Great Desert for fun and profit. A lot of profit. It's a mod made for those who always dreamt of being a Colombian cartel boss, ruining the lives of millions hardworking Americans and getting filthy rich in the process. If that describes you, then you would fit perfectly amongst my subs, so what are you waiting for? Subscribe now and I'll share with you the secret belt pouches which allow you to experience the unique feeling of being high as a kite in serious combat situation and instantly become best friends with the crack-smoking hobo next door. Alas, what the hobo next door is missing, it's some proper armor. But luckily, there's my favorite new armor mod, Expanded Vanilla Armor. It adds a ton of new equipment to the game that are all kit bashed from the actual vanilla armor, so they fit absolutely perfectly into the world of Kenshi, which is often where most armor mods fail. They're not overpowered and with their bonuses and malices compete well with the established vanilla armor. If you want to steal them, you'll find various NPCs across the world sporting these new outfits. If you want to buy them or craft them, well, you can do all of that. They are simple, yet they look amazing, and I think we already established that looking good is the most important thing in Kenshi. But there's another mod that's gonna make your characters look good, because there's nothing cooler than wearing two hats at the same time. You can now fit pretty much all vanilla hats into the belt slot, with gas masks, faceplates, and bandanas especially looking absolutely amazing when paired with other hats. It's a little mod that adds so many cool new looks to the game, and I couldn't recommend it more. You'll be able to craft the hats you want, but if you'd rather just buy them, then I recommend you head to the swamps. And if you head to the swamps dressed in Impaler armor, you'll fit right in. I know I said most mods fail to hit that Kenshi vibe, but this fit smashes the post-apocalyptic nature of Kenshi's world on its proverbial nailhead. It looks amazing, alas it is slightly overpowered compared to vanilla armor of similar kind. Luckily, there's a patch for that, which brings it down a notch, reduces its extremely potent crossbow bonuses, and spreads the acid immunity across multiple pieces. But all in all, it looks great and it fits great. Just like Dreadgear fits your needs for stealth, thievery, and assassination. It adds two sets of armor kit bashed using the pre-existing vanilla armor pieces. If you want to buy them, your best bet is to visit the Shinobi Thieves, but if you grab the blueprints, you can craft them yourself as well. They got solid stats, great coverage, and great weather protection, so you can take them on assassination missions all across the world of Kenshi. And you'll need to journey far and wide to find and collect every legendary weapon from Legendary Weapons mod. It adds a bunch of unique, one-of-a-kind weapons hidden in ruins and NPCs across the world of Kenshi. You'll first hear rumors about them in bars, which will set you on an unforgettable journey rife with dangers, tough fights, and eventually legendary loot. These are high-end weapons, so your characters will have to be strong and powerful to win them and eventually use them properly as well. But easier to get and use are the many weapons added by the new Weapon Dissemination mod. I recommended this mod in my last mod showcase from 2021, but I could not mention it again, because it's just that good. It adds a huge variety of new weapons to fight with, from badass two-handers to precise slicers and razors that can bleed a Gari in a second. The best thing about them is they're fully and perfectly integrated with the world of Kenshi, so all factions get to use these new toys. Plus, you get more bandits to fight who get exponentially stronger the more of their rivals you take out in glorious combat. And no other mod celebrates the glorious Kenshi combat than More Combat Animation mod. It adds a huge variety of new animations for every weapon class in game, allowing your men to charge at your enemies with a bunch of new combos as you watch them roll, fall, and slide as they get whacked in battle. Make sure to get the extended edition and follow the instructions to install it properly. Raising your combat skills high will reward you with new master strokes, so now your men can alpha strike their opponents into oblivion as they travel the world of Kenshi. And on your travels, don't forget to visit the East Coast, which is now suddenly infested with bloodthirsty and run-thirsty pirates. There are a bunch of new factions, towns, and yars populating the previously empty and devastated East Coast, where most players only visited once to get the ancient loot and then they fucked off. Now you can stay a while and listen, or help various factions get a hand over their enemies, complete quests, gather unique recruits, and get drunk in Tortuga. But if you dream bigger than just getting drunk, then dream no longer, for there is Universal Wasteland Expansion. It does what it says on the tin. It expands the world of Kenshi in every way possible, and flashes out the world, filling the nooks and crannies vanilla Kenshi left empty and undeveloped. It adds about 1 million new characters, factions, towns and their overrides, items, quests, races, game starts, armor, weapons, and of course dialogue. It will make the world more dangerous, but where is danger, there is opportunity for a seasoned player. And truly, this is a mod for those of you like like me who have conquered Kenshi and now crave more with added difficulty. Universal Wasteland expansion deserves a dedicated video showcase, so for now I'll just say get it and give it a try. Now I promised you some bonus mods and I shall deliver. Check out moss crabs if you want to add even more animal variety to the swamps. If you don't want to hunt for your food, you can try simple fishing, or if you just simply want a new place to live, go with Fort Shinobi. You can also visit Settlers of the Wastes if Iron Will faction is too much for you, and to add to all that armor I mentioned already, give Ronin Cloth Pants a try. And last but not the least, thank you to my channel members and Patreon supporters.